So boring today. You know what I need? I need a little bit of excitement.
Need a little excitement? Step into a Slim Jim. Oh yeah!
Whoa!
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Is this man? What was that? Macho Man Randy Savage?
Happened so fast you can't even talk about it. Lucky person, yeah.
Macho
I want to ask her a question.
You told me I can't talk to her, Randy.
I told you that from time to time. Yes, I have. Would you like to ask her a question right at this particular time? Would you like to do that?
May I?
Oh, yeah. What kind of a question you want to ask her?
Well, Elizabeth.
You wouldn't give her that flower, would you?
Hope you guys are ready to jump into the macho madness of today's review. Ooh yeah! WWF Royal Rumble is a pro wrestling video game based on the popular WWF pay-per-view of the same name. It was published by LJN and Flying Edge and was developed by Sculpted Software. It was released in 1993 for the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. The Super Nintendo version was released a few months early, and the Sega Genesis version, released a little bit later, replaced some wrestlers. Both versions share 7 wrestlers, which are Bret the Hitman Hart, The Undertaker, HBK Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, Macho Man Randy Savage, Woo Yeah, Crush, and the Narcissist. The Super Nintendo version features the Nature Boy Ric Flair, Woo, Mr. Perfect, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, Yokozuna, and Tatanka. The Sega Genesis version features the immortal Hulk Hogan brothers, Irwin R. Shyster, aka IRS, Jim Duggan, ho! Papa Shango, and of course the model Rick Martel. What's interesting about the differences between these two rosters is the Super Nintendo's roster more closely resembles the actual WWF's roster at the time of the Sega version's release, and the Sega's roster more closely resembles the WWF's actual roster at the time of the Super Nintendo's release. For the first time in this game series, there's a Royal Rumble mode, as the game's name would imply. But there's also some new features like a grappling meter, or the fact that the steel chair on the outside can be used as a weapon. There's some new moves too, like the illegal tactics you can do, like choking or eye raking. And every wrestler now has their own signature finishing move. The game was followed by WWF Rage in the Cage for the Sega CD, and its direct sequel for the SNES, WWF Raw. Now with these little tidbits out of the way, let's slam into WWF Royal Rumble for the SNES. The game's presentation ranges from good to decent. The intro and menu screens aren't anything special to look at, nor do they need to be. The actual game looks pretty good though. The crowd is well animated, you even have the announcers in the background. Not to mention you have the ref in the ring to try to keep the match clean and fair. There's a lot of background animation going into this game which really immerses you into the game, but unfortunately the character details are a little bland. It really feels like most of the characters are just the same basic model, but with different attires, hair, and skin tones swapped out. It's noticeable, but not enough to pull you out of the game. The Sega version is exactly the same, except it has a darker, almost muddier tone to it, which actually matches what WWF TV looked like back then. Not much to say here, all the moves have a decent impactful sound to them. Every wrestler has the same grunt, so it gets a little bland, but where this game truly shines in the sound department is the wrestlers' themes. Every wrestler's theme is faithfully represented in MIDI tune form. The Sega version is pretty much the same, except it has a rougher, more hard rock sound to its themes. Not that the Super Nintendo songs aren't rockin', they really are, but the Genesis version rocks it just a little better in my opinion. Here's a sample. Every wrestler has the same basic moveset. The only thing that is different is the signature move, activated with the right shoulder button when your opponent's health is in the red. For example, with Macho Man, your opponent must be on the ground and you have to climb the turnbuckle to drop his legendary elbow. Or Razor's is a little more simple, you just need to press R when grappling your opponent from the front. While I'm on the subject of the moves, the best strategy in this game I have found is to use strike attacks till your opponent's health is out of the green. Then start using your grapple attacks, turnbuckle attacks, and Irish whip attacks. Finally, when they are in the red, hit them with your signature and pin them for the 1, 2, 3. This is a long process, especially with the tug-of-war grapple system, which reduces this game's strategy to button mashing. But I found it works the best as going outside to use the chair and the crowd barrier are very risky because you stand a high chance to be hit by the chair yourself and get counted out. In the beginning of the match, it takes forever to win a tug-of-war grapple against the computer when its health is in the green, and my hands were tired and blown up by the end of the match. So using your power moves from the get-go is also a very bad idea. There are multiple game modes, singles matches, tag matches, triple tag matches, and of course, the Rumble match, which makes this game great for multiplayer action with friends. The singles and tag matches have the option of exhibition modes or tournament modes in which you go after the titles. In the singles, you must go through every wrestler in the roster to win the WWF Championship. It's the longest mode by far with 11 matches to play, and the further you get, the tougher the computer gets. But do you have what it takes to rise to the cream of the crop? Ooh, yeah! The tag tournament, you go after the WWF tag titles, and it's a little shorter being that every wrestler in the roster are paired together, but it felt just as long as the singles because in a tag match, the opponent tagged out recovers health, so it's in your best interest to keep your opponents from tagging out and keeping your team fresh and not letting one of your guys stay in too long. Follow this advice and you'll have WWF Tag Gold in no time. The triple tag is even more challenging. You must contend with 2 opponents recovering health instead of just 1. But it's not too hard, just keep the legal man in your corner and keep him from tagging out. Also, I must mention that in both tag modes, your partner and opponents will do things to aid or harm you during a match, adding more strategy to how you fight. It also gives us more elements from WWF programming to this game. And now it's time for the main event, the Royal Rumble match. The best way I can describe the Royal Rumble is pure chaos. You start with just one opponent, and then as time goes on, the rest of the roster will start pouring into the ring. You must get your opponent's health down far enough to throw them out. To do this, you must grapple them next to the ropes and press Y. The best strategy here is to stay the hell out of the middle, where everyone's just going to beat you down and throw you out. Stay at the corners of the ring and pick wrestlers off one by one. With that, and some luck, the winner is you. WWF Royal Rumble is a nice little game that gives you the WWF experience well. It'll give you and your friends something fun to enjoy on a Friday night. That being said, the single-player modes have a very low replayability rate. After about 2 hours of playing every mode by myself, I had my fill of the game. This game is definitely geared towards multiplayer. I remember my brother and me renting Royal Rumble for Sega Genesis and having an absolute blast. Whether we were going for the tag titles together or having epic one-on-one button-mashing matches. It's truly a great game. Though I must say, I think the Super Nintendo version is slightly superior because the Sega Genesis version, or I should say the Sega Genesis controller, only has 3 buttons to the Super Nintendo version's 6. Though this problem can be alleviated if you purchase the 6-button Sega Genesis controller. My final verdict for both versions of WWF Royal Rumble is they're great additions to anyone's collection. A must-buy, especially if you consider LJN's reputation of being a publisher of bad games. This is a great party game, and I don't think you need to be a wrestling fan to enjoy it. But that's just my opinion. Anyway guys, that's it for this review. See you later, and play on.
Step into a Slim Jim, oh yeah!
It's time to play Bang Bang!
What are you talking about? Oh!